Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
As showed you the jar of Claare na Gael, the smile am Jewish Altachar. I'm Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert the Carslach.
Ever heard tell of Bobby Bob?
Well, yes, I did, but if you haven't, that's me, and I'm here to present Claare na Gael, a bilingual programme in the English language and in the Manx Gaelic. Severl is a Gilg, Chinian Amera, the mother tongue of Ioan Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and Urish, Dorothy Wordsworth has walked down to Castletown, where she appears to have stayed the night, and the next morning has walked to Port St Mary and then over to Port Erin. She now walks on a little further, but then she fills us in on a little more detail of her walk just prior to that. Onsen sin des Rilgainje Dracula tussen Jitgus Toya Cabdil Nenas Phaidin. Ta tengelach British dal Tajimach and Shamer Studeres and Dr John Seward, the instead of Drachhacher der Jitter and Sornsegger Egges at Tai Benrich, Renfield. Now we start with a band from Cornwall, and they're called Three Daft Monkeys, and it's an eponymous song which is called Three Daft Monkeys. Tashu Gaisjach Rish Radio Vanning, Stashu na Nashun, Viscoler Scaliena by Dúlish, Ellen Vanning. From Cornwall, that's the band Three Daft Monkeys, with the song about three daft monkeys. Now, Dorothy Wordsworth's diary has brought us from Port St Mary and on to Port Erin. Then, she writes, crossed the country, past Christ Rushen, a white church and standing low. Cheerful country, a few good houses, but seldom pretty in architecture. Children coming from school, schools very frequent. Now we drag up the hill, an equal ascent, turf and not bad road, but a weary way. Well, she's evidently taken the road up past Ballycalawy. That'll take her eventually up past the Slough and up round Cronknarelai. However, she realises now that she's getting a bit ahead of herself. But I ought to have described, she says, our passage from Port St Mary to Port Erin, over Spanish Head, to view the Calf, a high island, 40 acres, partly cultivated. Now, as she describes the Calf as partly cultivated, I wonder, is that reference to 40 acres just the amount of land that she estimated or was told was in cultivation there, because the Calf is actually about 600 acres. Gilen and Early Seward, and Trasled Jerafauer. Liegtau Corshis les Girid Ulju Rentachert, Gemayes Fodum Cunionair, Nieres en Geers Jerry hult me riddenachs jaag on. Genaiden de minfoint erbij is de Cunionair, weet je Rudich. Les sledden smaak armpien zijn thou gulair. Tre henk me gescheme Renfield, huur me na lai lair. Ljadi gerege, ons poil halsjenach de oel. Tre heimi de gleesige henke chilirach de wei bachtel, de rawe en gedden kius de gort en aglach. Wei jean na rauw weg jean on enes de oren neder alten de körper bis kaurige mag hier sunt dit jaasdag. A 5 en edden fauslich, dat mi fagen de rawe broedjet de hatje mag, maar de bergie na woele na en leer. De jaro she bijna gorten van edden van poil de oel goil tuicht. Ren de ten jailach voor glune schies ljorische gorp lotrum gauws was in chinde herische. Now, from the Aran Isles off Galway and Clare, this is LASAIRFHIONA and CHONAOLA singing about Phaidin.
Shantruinach mishanach mishe shantruinach mishe Phaidin. Shantruinach mishanach mishe sevanete kivakolten. Rachen gekale gus rachen chikale la potin. Rachen chikale gus akune wali samodle. Shantruinach mishe shantruinach mishe Phaidin. Shantruinach mishe sevanete kivakolten. Rachen gehinne goglachen is dagen gebellen en boeien. Hebran on de stad is na fijne gesulis gewekken Phaidin. Shantruinach mishe shantruinach mishe Phaidin. Shantruinach mishe sevanete kivakolten. Daden daraden di daden daraden daraden di daden. Daden daraden di daden daraden daraden daraden. Shantruinach mishe shantruinach mishe Phaidin. Shantruinach mishe sevanete kivakolten. Kom rische te gasse, kom rische te gasse Phaidin. Kom rische te gasse, kom rische te gasse is te groven. Shantruinach mishe shantruinach mishe Phaidin. Shantruinach mishe sevanete kivakolten. Ga mama vragen, ga mama vragen je Phaidin. Ga mama vragen, ga mama binnen se sove. Shantruinach mishe shantruinach mishe Phaidin. Shantruinach mishe sevanete kivakolten. Daden daraden di daden daraden daraden di daden. Daden daraden di daden daraden daraden di daden. Shantruinach mishe shantruinach mishe Phaidin. Shantruinach mishe sevanete kivakolten.
LASAIRFHIONA and CHONAOLA, resenting the wife of Phaidin and wishing her nothing but ill, I'm afraid. Liam bansje de velle green brish. Gee, te gammes a rai as lurge yesh as chow yesh en edden egge, jint njou leeltach. Crenach odach riddanach Jane liad shen takert, burra ten jailach skin taus. Phaidin de sledden voor de gilje, as van de mollienegge krunige gouds doorte, gaan not tiggle en dergoes. Oddach korkoudig en eddenegge gor shen ljorish boele gjon heen na een lair. Han ik mi ben eig jenu shen kiert de rouwens tai benrich Everfield, rosh me dat pecher bi cor laurie. As to mi shielten fuddy de vodach brische wannel jorish tujje mach as aljavi, de denke de wij ons komme kam. Ach me jowes heen, gaan not shielten en acht henken derhager de wij aan. De berge 3 megabrish gaan not boele gjon. As de bergen eddenegge gor shen rosh me en tujjem mach as aljavi, ver koudigen jeshen. How Dorothy Wordsworth describes the what she's seen now of the calf, which is in passing as it were, peopled with rabbits, rent paid therewith. Now in William Harrison's Monum Selene, volume 16 in 1869 of the Manx Society publications, he's got this entry, a calf of man grace. A person having occasion to reside for a length of time on the small islet called the Calf of Man, containing about 600 acres, the rent of which is said to have been paid from the sale of rabbits killed thereon, and being constantly regaled with what were at that time very abundant on the isle, exclaimed, "For rabbits hot and rabbits cold, for rabbits young and rabbits old, for rabbits tender, rabbits tough, I thank the Lord. I've had enough." And back to Dorothy Wordsworth's diary. A stormy passage to the calf, meaning that the sound was choppy, not that she went across. A boat, hurrying through with tide. Another small isle adjoining, very wild. Now is this Kittlin or Thusselin the sound? Perhaps she's looking down towards the Burrow, now well known as the Drinking Dragon. Music from Wales, that was Jamie Smith's MABON with a piece called Croeso Ioan, and that was a track from their album The Space Between.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Siodiw stasiwn yn asiwn radio fanning, a Claare na Gael fysgol yr sgelia mach cart na Schmerenpin, Robert Cytyn Carswell, Robert y Carslach.
Ather heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
De die Claare radiowanning rechlaschen risch reschachten lukt au guller skelia machen gidgeert truden gramman eragert in de degger radiowanning. De podcast J. Claare Gael master na gieden de podcast vis regetten nasty in de degger radiowanning de trud kere een podcast elia Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn na Alexa. Now, about 25 years earlier, about 1803, Dorothy Wordsworth had written a diary about a visit to Scotland, and seeing the Sound now, she says, I thought of the passage between Loch Oa and Loch Etive. However, she's turned back, as it were, to tell us about this, but now, to return to the mountain ascent from Christ Rushen. Peat stacks all over, and a few warm smoking huts, thatches secured by straw ropes. Now, the straw ropes are the sagans, made by twisting together the long strands of straw, and these were passed over the thatch, and round the house would be stones built into the wall and projecting out, and these were called the bwyd sagan, and around these the sagan would be tied to secure the thatch. And the walls, she says, in which was generally buried one window, cushioned all over with thyme in full blow, low sedum, and various other flowers. Called on Henry's friend beside the mountain gate. Now, Dorothy had mentioned the Manx sod hedges earlier on, if you recall, that she didn't think very much of them, although she admitted that they were quite pretty. The mountain hedge was an even wider sod hedge because it was an important landmark. Dortmirish, imigus an Erli Van Helsing as braije berge chochinjel as the hit the saw chilirach. Tamigiria gin cumrail ear shalid. Ren and dunje roi rosh, as choustai minute na henk an olurish, as kiaull goed shemerach as a gerein and tie. Tre honike Renfield a lair, yich de gier is tullach, as shindee dow. Liam de dug en smuljen ons maar hoel, fe doorte fichun, as scronnel de rauwe son clich in de tenjelach. Ah, draag hager trimshach Nia fame ara de gier, as moerain kereil. Ni misschien tannachten beurt, ach, hoiacht nim cor moom. Me wissu tannachten on show, nim chittons minit na rede vei meurt. Van surrensach nish tarn enel de feirach as de doggerach, as seishach vei de hagen de rauwe hurrens lurish gortenjach aglach. Henk Van Helsing rish les buid erskin carginus. The Scottish group h-OGANAICH got together to bring some different influences to Scottish Gaelic song, and here's their version of Coisich Ruin, Walk, My Love. The traditional Scottish Gaelic song Coisich a Ruin, in a setting by h-OGANAICH, with the voice of Mod gold medal winner there, Margaret MacLeod. Fe gimmerga póga fairlí. Fe gin draw smunnion ve ege, as draw an aigne ege gint. No, bunnish rosh merenne gin an sorensach, de dote rum mor hanish, Cora soul ten jailach, sign dun vein in lommerken, merish trevis en chitersen rish lukken of rage. Maar so doort me, liam de bishen meidel oornish Simmons, tashin onion all you fod me jegen traiton, lies de gostje no geerted, as nien fairly Helsing culina an of raid, cor fist douchilerach me vis veger be jou gadjen boller be. Haien dun je magas, as heischen le scrutach gier jen sorensach. Echterach van a gorten den edin. She brisje broedjet de wollach van adi riech, ren China shees sledden trud de nerd leeltes. Smunny en al oer shallid, as doorte. Signed on gin the slew a brew, as cosna rishkus fonu cadjan, quish as vishen rieno. Henry Hutchinson's friend lives in a cottage by the gate in the mountain fence. The mountain fence was important because above that was the area that was legislated for, eventually a bit later, in the Disafforestation Act of 1860. And the word forest first came into English meaning wild land set aside for hunting. Didn't necessarily mean that it had anything to do whatever with trees on the land. And this was certainly very much the case here in the island, where the hilltops, the reasts, were the forest land, but no trees, of course. It was all bare land, but the people could put their animals up there as common land for grazing and collect gorse barns for their fires and so on, so it was an important common resource. And as with the enclosure of land elsewhere, it was said that it was done to improve agriculture, but of course it took common land and rights away from the people to the benefit of the rich. Now, one of the Manx names for Peel Hill refers to this commonality, although the spelling perhaps disguise it, Cronknacarchnus, but carchnus comes from the word cargian, meaning common, so this is Cronknacarchnus, this was common land. Here's a singing group from Brest in Brittany, Les Marins d'Iroise, singing actually about the girls of Lorient. Now, the Les Marins d'Iroise, the Iroise is the part of the Atlantic off the coast of Brittany from the Ile de Seine to Ushant.
Ce sont les filles de l'Orient jolies, ce sont les filles de l'Orient, mon Dieu, qu'elles sont jolies, Lola, mon Dieu, qu'elles sont jolies, s'en vont le soir se promener.
regardant le
Les filles de Lorient, but the singers, les marins d'Iroise, are from Brest. Called on Henry's friend besides the mountain gate, writes Dorothy Wordsworth, her house blinding with smoke. I sat in the doorway. She was affectionately glad to see Henry, shook hands, and blessed us at parting. God be with you and prosper you on your journey. And their journey takes them up and over Cronknirila and the Round Table, and now down towards Eri Cushlin. Descend. More cottages, like waggon roofs of straw, chance-directed pipes of chimneys and flowery walls, not a shoe or a stocking to be seen. Derby Glen, beautiful stream and stone cottages, and gardens hedged with flowery elder, and mallows as beautiful as geraniums in a greenhouse. Trees very flourishing. Close and hot, weary descent and ascent to a pothouse on the heights. Well, it's not quite clear where this pothouse stood in relation to Derby, but although it's a pothouse, that's to say a pot distillery, Dorothy Wordsworth is disappointed. No spirits, she says, nothing but ale. Ta buid a scaliamach, saljagamach duchis hatchimach and adhiega. Te gin the valley gino er a cledden erd lieltis. Die in scaliamach ons ne inchinega bishige de bu, maar so signed on gino tararis, cartnish nonna fuddy de berg hero aanmach. Gouds ve lord ver tappel bug doris. Jaime Harris as Doshelmia, as Hurmi, Sachorido, Chowmuije, Arthur as Quincy, ons pajamachen as Karen and Tai. Lauren Hidder Jow. Hilmi a Dunya Ed Sumna and Early Van Helsing, as Ginch de Machion Drach Hakert. Maso Rembi dus de Quincy, the Shashen hug me Emer, non a Rawi na Chadla. Ta Ridden Gol Rumburo Tavias Raw Querks on Sabine Pondak, Egg Fair Region ons the Tray and Shaw. Fami smulnion lean of erach na be ridden san acht morbad. Signed on Jean the soldier de henna, as begging the soldier I, never gintine. CRINGLE playing his own enormously popular composition, Auldyn River.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Stasiwn yn aswn, sien the jaru radio banning. Tasiw geisdiach rys Claare na Gael ag a treiton, mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have I heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Wel kid dun chitsdiach. Ren mi snoggle, as ren mi cummel the Doris Fauslet sterfa the jitsdiach on. Esh ren mi dunerish. Tre honnig Quincy, cumma, stayed on surren sachas, gau I taste Jane foil aglach en lair, doorte de feich. Maar jee, creu hacherischen, en dunje bach. Dinch mi de ons ach ger, as dúirt mi níos de raus in jerkel de ginnach hen chit ersen rish lug an ovreid, rish tamult ger ag an chud slú. Haia chilirach as haia shis oirel javach, leis godalming glorish, Renshin uljugi de surrensach. Nimmig furchten, dúirt Van Helsing, ceart fóda de lúr de reiche bol share son tararis, de vodmud na stabi is sanach share, gedden mach a glout falla. No de wel bachtel de wel rai falla bishiche. Ren a minuten on thou washen furchten, gol sha, lesh molus aglach. Wel jag chries achimach chitorm. Now in this pothouse, Dorothy Wordsworth spots something else. Greedily I fixed my eyes on the potato pot ready for her husband's dinner. Can I have some potatoes? Plenty, was the glad reply, but it was strange to her that I wouldn't partake of the fish. Mullet, I believe, a delicacy. Her husband couldn't speak an English word, had not yet been out for after the herrings, but ready for a call. She seemed quite contented and cheerful. Fowls pecking about, a wry-necked lamb, and she produced a cuckoo full-fledged with gaping yellow mouth. Would have given it to us, no, I doubt not, yet seemed greatly to prize it. Boiled me 2 eggs, produced a pewter spoon from sugar pot unwashed, then brought a silver one. No bread. On great days makes tea. We gave her a shilling. I know not what I must do for change, with a perplexed countenance, and what was her surprise and delight to hear it was all for herself. She insisted on our taking another pint. We must have it, and she pledged Mr. H. Now this is a band called HANTERHIR from Redruth in Cornwall, and although the track is called Whatever Happened to Whitford, the song itself is in Cornish.
Ladron will he retro star Bogo Seconi and Tim and you drew Galas Vassal Teatre Tel de Janal Agastolio Need alloy
HANTERHIR, with a song in Cornish about their bass player Martin Whitford, and that was from their album Songs We Learned in Cornish. Well, having partaken of the potatoes, but not the mullet, Dorothy and Henry take their leave. We shook hands at parting. She was astonished at my walking, but looking after us said, "That woman steps so light she's made for walking." Terrace road delightful. Fine coast and views would have been grand had the air favoured. Only could discover sea by the dark spots of ships. Well, Dorothy Wordsworth is again not reliable as to names, and here she goes on to talk about Glen Maye, but she says, Glen Manx, very romantic, deep and hot. Bridge, fine trees, flowery gardens. Yet I too tired to walk to waterfall. I wonder which one she means. It's strange because the waterfall, the big waterfall, is actually near the top, close to the road, and she's evidently walked the road rather than coming round the bruise because she'd been able to see the sea with some difficulty, of course, but she wasn't walking right by the sea, otherwise she'd have seen it far better. So she must have been on the road, she says, the terrace road. She continues, pretty wide, populous vale and hills well shaped near Peel. Fine bridge and steep river banks. Town finely situated under mountain. Well, the mountain is Croeso that we talked about before there, the Peel Hill. Phaidin Van Helsing tammy tiggle der au eschen gennacht an Pertaal na Dracula machon over a hit. Vami Gael rosh na Fogland for the Renfield grey. Vami the jar raw agli jas the smunion. Ach man sigur sorum jay na ver a hit, mar tammy liai jay dania te clash and clag rawi a vesh. Henk ennel a dunja bach und skredden jou higger. Dag tullach, bij jier mar de beg e fazelen en suljenegge as lord. Ach, esch, geirt sen weg ennel feirach doggerach, as jinnach e gol schies riskus jou vjorit stuna. Jintrin mar vami del Javi and Chingus as de bes, ren and drach jerkel shaw guess, as guess choustijim. Bonus dod mi gennacht an boele me heen, as when oel rai trut kushlin en me wesh, feirel mar boelig en jay ord. Vajere, henk getasted de wei an geishach. Ich mi ever me chumregen, verlug ver, as honnig mi weine eden en jurgit, as besh en tash, drawed surren slurish torchach jane lid cherren. Now, Wirran Cowley sings with the Irish band Dano about curly-haired Molly Nichullinoin.
His father wummi, his father wummi, Auldyn, his father yes, agus wasi, Molly na gwa Nichullinoin. Tiger nord, is bekeren MABON brakagong, niligig men dine dagord, ach Molly albon Nichullinoin, his father wummi, his father wummi, Auldyn. His father yes, agus wasi, Molly na gwa Nichullinoin. Na menschen achir vant, is na dina ranach jakenas, ni alhim mahom na gabra, is the horn comes each bride again. Yanach she marvon beyond. No boachilla so tintandina. It's father lam on me. It's father lam on me. Oh, Dimishi.
Molly na Guach na Chulinan, performed by Danu with Murran na Cowliv. Verdrach jerklis im neach or in ulju, mor de bege skindin ging de jinnach klagenjach aglach feirel macht de leger, tre weg jerklis sluain ori. Vejere, henk tre as spachtele veder our surrensach sin keel de bew. Fuddy de jinnach getten bes, shall it er be. H and I soon to Peel, most thankful for rest, writes Dorothy as they finish their day's walk. The vale behind, so wildly, softly beautiful, I should have been delighted in it had I not been so weary. Refreshed by tea, but appetite poor, till broiled ham was proposed by hostess, which I enjoyed. To bed by daylight. As er sul jam cartnish ach ro amach de golde life o saljan lai ag an imbach shaw. Ach, hig tray. Well, from 7 till 9, Chris Pearson is your host for the best of chill-out music for your Sunday evening, and then from 9 o'clock, Judith Lay accompanies us through into Monday morning. Ach, Sinead Cartnish, we bring Claare and Gael to an end, this time with music by Welsh band Crastant. As Masoch and Elbeg Elia de Greyach, until the next time then, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve, I'm a Cree Eddie will you, as Orserlier, as me Yeri and shared you.